And welcome to the Chamber Talk Show. We got our special guest, our friends, the Black Super Friends podcast. Stay tuned for a great show. Well, good Sunday afternoon to all of you. So happy to see you guys on this Memorial Day weekend. Of course, we're going to jump in. We have the Black Super Friends. We love sparring with you guys. We love you guys. But before we do, definitely we want to acknowledge what happened on last week in Uvalde, Texas. Definitely our prayers and condolences go out to those families. I'm an educator, so I felt all of that. It was very painful to see, to hear about the teachers, of course, shielding those kids, such heroic acts. So, again, prayers and condolences go out to Uvalde, Texas, and all that they're dealing with at this particular moment. Again, thank you guys for joining us. Kind of a short notice. You know, we always want to talk to you guys because we'd love to hear your controversial thoughts. The Horace Towns is going to join us a little bit later, but we're going to dive right in because I do want people to ask questions. We always have questions for you guys because you always shoot straight with us. So again, welcome alongside Dr. April Givens, who is a licensed therapist, a psychotherapist. So she can break it up, she can get it going, and so she brings that counseling piece and that therapy piece to us so magically, and we appreciate that. But we want to start by just basically throwing out the question. We talk about it all the time. How do women allow the man to lead? Okay. How do women allow the man to lead? I'm going to open it up, of course, to Dr. April because I know she sees um, these types of things on a regular basis when she's counseling couples in her office. And then we're going to, of course, allow you guys to jump in. And we're going to talk about how do you guys feel like you are the leader or how should you be leading? So we'll kick it off with Dr. April.
Okay, well, first, I would like to say the main thing for, couples is communication. So being able to effectively communicate with one another because no one can read the other person's mind. We see a lot of times in couples therapy, the woman is frustrated and upset and she's going off a mile a minute and yelling, and that's not effective for the man. And I tell them all the time, I say, you have to slow down. He's still trying to process the first thing you're saying, and you're still on number one, number two, number three, number four. You have to let him deal with one issue at a time. So being able to understand your partner and meet him where he is, but being patient and not being so much in a rush to get what you want, but also listening, relay your needs, but give him an opportunity also to be able to respond to those needs.
Okay, so a lot of times I hear men saying that women nowadays, and I just heard a gentleman just told me, now the women have changed. You guys are more alpha females, and you guys are doing a lot of things for yourself. So you're not allowing us to lead. I want one of you gentlemen to talk about that because I'm sure as you're out, if you've been dating, of course, we know Super Mario is married, but if you've been dating, what type of women are you encountering out there? And have you actually come across that female that you just said, I'm going to back up because she won't allow me to be the man?
Uh, Look, I honestly find this question insulting. I find the question disingenuous. Uh, at the end of the day, it's like this. This ain't a man's question. This is the black man's question. I got white friends. I got Hispanic friends. I don't have any Asian friends, but I have friends with Asian descent, and I never hear them having this conversation. This is a conversation that we have strictly for black men, and I don't know. I find it appalling that we have to ask for permission to lead y'all. Like that doesn't make sense to me. We got to stop even thinking like that. No, we don't have to ask women permission to do anything. Well, not I don't mean anything, but we don't have to ask women permission on this. Men should be driven by their purpose. Men should be driven by their ambition. If you're a religious man, you should be driven by faith. But you don't have to ask nobody permission to lead them. She has to be on your program. If she don't believe that you should lead, then she should not be with you. She shouldn't be taking up any of your resources. You have to. I don't understand why we the one that has to be ask permission. It's like that big mama syndrome, man. We don't have to ask permission. We do. We are men. If at the end of the day, I'm done. I'm just gonna leave it like that. I don't know why we got to ask anybody permission to do anything.
All right.
I look at it.
Well, um, I think that's actually, Doctor, a question for the women. To be honest to you, when I read the question, I heard you say it again. I really think that's a question for women. They need to ask themselves, what does it take for a man to lead me? And the question that they really need to ask at the root of it is, can I be led?
Right.
Because you got to want to be led in order to be led. But then on the flip side, I did hear the catch 22, so to speak, that you put on the end. As men, we do have to have some things in order. Your purpose does have to be there. You have to be clear and concise with what you're doing with that person. So just like Dr. April said, the communication does have to be there, because as men, we have to be able to definitively say which direction we're going. That way it gives the woman a chance to say, I want to be a part of this team or not. Um, I know we see a lot of other things. I think I'm gonna stop there though, but um, I can see where women get led astray, so to speak, and it's because that man isn't clear or unsure of where he's going, so he lacks that direction. So it is hard for them to lead. And the gentleman that said the women that are doing really, really well and are hard, he said are hard to date. Is that correct?
He did. He said
Yeah.
it's hard to date nowadays.
That's just with some women. I mean, me personally, because again, I am out there, I am single, so I do encounter these women that they say are hard to date, but they're not really hard to date for me. I just stay away from them because they're showing me that they have one mindset that ain't the mindset that I want to align myself with. So I don't even venture over there. But I do realize that a lot of men are drawn by physical attraction. Well, all men are drawn by physical attraction, but some men may see that it girl. That's what we're going to call them. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to make the attempt for that, and then see that she comes with more demands than she actually has assets, and that tips the scale for you, where you don't even want to do the first thing for that woman, because why? I'm doing everything, and she, the nerve of her is what you'll see most men kind of respond to that question with, because most men, and I speak for the vast majority, especially the ones that I'm around, we're gonna do those things anyway. Lead you. That's just our natural innate ability that we're gonna do if you allow us. But then you have some women that just won't release the reins, and that's a terrible situation. That's where I think Chris was coming when he spoke.
I like it. I thought it was interesting that he said that other races don't have this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not up for discussion in other races. Is it that men are stronger or no in other races? I don't know. Because I mean, I'm thinking about that. I have seen this time and time again where the woman is stronger and she's doing um, somewhat more. That strong personality person. But anyway, I'm interested. Marcus Edwards says, as a black man, you're attracted to a woman that's a partner because it's a team game out here. Okay, so I guess he pretty much kind of echoed what you just said, Zay, as a person. Then how do you guys lead? I'm curious. I want to know. I know Super Mario has a family. He has a wife. He's a family man. Let's talk about the characteristics of a solid man, a solid black man leading his family. What does that look like?
First, I want to say first you got to ask yourself like how do you learn how to be a leader, right? And I think we as black men, most of us are getting raised by women, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the voice of a woman and being able to make a woman proud, or the woman's perception of how you become a man, or what they call a man, or whatever your mom, your aunt, whoever your grandma, whoever raised you, what they envision of what a man is, that's what you start earning or yearning to be, right? And that's all wrong. Because me and Chris was having this conversation like off the record earlier about me raising sons. And I have my daughter's my oldest, though, right? So as a father, I'm a protector. I love my little girl. I show her and all that. But as a man, I don't let my wife interject a lot because he needs to hear the definitive voice of a man telling him how to be a man. Like right now, I feel like women need to tell women how to be a woman, and men need to tell men how to be a man. I don't tell my daughter how to be a woman because I'm not a woman. So I give her advice from a man's point of view on how a man might react or might feel about how she's reacting. I don't say this is what a man should do and this is what you should do and this I don't because I'm not a woman. So I think if women, especially black women, like Chris alluded to, take that same approach of let me outsource grooming a man to other men. And you got to think, most of these women who are having babies are like 30 some years old. So you don't know no good man that you can say, you know what, let me come humble and say, I don't know how to be a man. Can you please help me raise this young man that's going to come into this world to be a better man? But you won't do that because you feel like the ego comes in, I got what it takes. And if the man ain't there, I have enough to just raise this man. So then you raise a little boy who's raised emotionally, who's raised not, he don't have that inner man that like that, and then now he's so in touch with his feelings. And then now, when he gets older, women look at him and say, "Oh, he's soft. He don't know how to be a man." Yeah, it's because he was raised by women that was telling him not to be a man. So then now, all of a sudden, he's not gonna get away because most women gonna say they want a man who's sensual, all that, in touch with his feelings, but then they want to protect her. They want to provide her. They want a man that when they lay his hand on his chest, they can feel secure. But then you want him to be so wrapped up in his feelings that he don't know how to be the first line of contact. Like I don't listen. I might not be the most emotional sound man in the world, but my wife knows when she around me, I got this. That house gonna be paid for. She's gonna be protected. I'm gonna love my kids. I love her and all, and I'm gonna express my wants. But I might not be able to say, intellectually speaking, my heart is very hurt at this moment right now. And this is giving me now I might can't do that for you. I'm sorry. Talk to your homegirl. But what I can do is say, hey, it's cars coming, walk on this side of the street. Let me open that door for you. Nah, go in the house and rest your feet. I'm gonna take all the groceries in. Nah, I'll go out there and stand in the rain when it's raining and get food. See, I'm gonna be a man because men taught me how to be a man. So I think to lead as a man, especially a black man, we have to start letting little boys go and get teaching from grown men who are doing it. Period.
But hold on, let me be devil's advocate for a second, Chris, before you jump in. So, what if you have women by default? Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate that have not been married, but they end up getting pregnant by these men who have been raised by other women as well, single women, and they don't have a clue. The fathers of these boys don't have a clue and won't take the time to sit down and have these manly conversations that you suggest with their sons. You have a lot of women out here that are
Got you.
begging the dads of their kids to step up and take care of the son and spend time with the son and instill things in the son. I see it all down my Facebook timeline all day about, hey, his dad won't do this. We tried to call him. He won't even call him. He won't even contact them. All of this stuff. So what do you say to that?
I'll tell you this. Say this real quick. I'm gonna let Zay go. If you went to a job every day and they didn't pay you, are you gonna keep going to that job and complaining, or are you gonna quit that job and find another job? Because that job paying you is the way that you pay your bills. It means that much to you, right? The same thing. If you made a mistake, because most people do, because they live out of lust. If you say I had a baby by this guy, and the most precious thing in this world is your child to any parent. So you telling me that the person who facilitated this birth don't want to step up to the plate? You owe it to your child to go reach out, humble yourself, and find another man that will step up and lead this little boy. It's not about pride no more. It's not about does his father want to. It's about the direction that this young man is gonna learn from. So if the daddy don't want to do it, that's not no excuse. That's your fault. So now you got to humble yourself because you chose that man to lay down and open your legs with and go find another man. Because there's a lot of men out here who will step right up to the plate and say, come here, young man. So don't sit there and then whine and complain and badger the daddy. Go find another good man out there who some of them don't even have kids who want to just give to little boys. I don't care how hard it is. Go find. Because you should have thought about that before you made a child.
Okay. I think Chris Leo, I think you had your hand up.
Yes,
To
yes. You
chime in
said
on that real bad.
no. You said so. I want to go back to something you said. You said, could it be that the other nation of men are stronger? Which men do you know? Which one of those nation of men built anything in this world? Not the pyramids, not the country of America. Not which one of those men had to be subjugated through slavery and still become the men that they are today. None of those men had what are built with what we are built with. We have shown leadership since the dawn of time. Maybe, just maybe, we should be allowed, and maybe y'all should get out of the way and let the leaders of this world since the beginning of this world continue to lead. Because none of those guys built America. None of those guys built pyramids. None of those guys has done what we have done on this earth as black men. So no, they're not stronger than us.
Okay. All right. I concur. My daddy is black, so or was. But I concur. I totally agree. All right. All right. So we got Kevin Samuels Jr. who just joined us. Really? The Harvest Town.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How was your trip?
They were all good. All of them were great. So just happy to see my guys and join y'all on this cast tonight.
Yeah, we just wanted to jump on and talk a little bit about how do we let the man lead, and specifically, I'm going to say the black man because every man on here is black. How do we let the black man, how can the woman back up and allow you guys to take your place, but in the same breath, are you leading? Do you have those qualities? Do you have those characteristics to lead us? I want to hear from you, Horace, the Horace Towns.
Okay, so I'm just tuning in, so my answers might be different from everybody else's, but that's the power of the show. I think in a relationship, you both have to respect but recognize the strength in each other. I'm going to be the man no matter what you are, and I need you to recognize that. Like, I'm going to appreciate you being the woman. I always tell men, go where you are appreciated, not tolerated. Um, the strength of the black family, strength of relationships are designed to be great. I always say until like what the 19 forget what year, black men and black women were together 9 out of 10. Those relationships were strong. They were fruitful. They created some great dynamics, a lot of great communities. And then social programs came in, a lot of things came in that divided us and made us start fighting each other. So I think for a woman, a man is always going to be a leader, hopefully. But I would say this: if you have a woman who doesn't feel like that guy has that leadership for her, then that's not the guy for her. You know, I can only be me. So if I can't, and I know for me, I've been in relationships where I couldn't lead this person, but I'm gonna be a leader. So if my direction and my goals for us is not to your standards, then I'm not the guy for you because I know where I'm going. And if you can't, if I feel like you're gonna stop me from going in the direction that I know or I'm led to go by God, by the internal strength I have, then I'm gonna end up resenting you if you stop me from leading us to what I think is best.
So I have a question then for you all to ponder. So for us, even in the black community, therapy is taboo, and we do know that, of course, a lot of African American males, a lot of black men have raised up without their fathers, their biological fathers. So I want to know if how do you look at therapy, you guys, like how do you look at therapy and saying, okay, I do have something, there's a shortcoming here, and I want to talk to someone about it. What do you say? Is it something that you would actually agree to do, or do you think it's still taboo? Because Dr. April is here, and I know for some men it may be harder, a little harder for them to go into therapy, into counseling.
We agree with it. I think would be the best answer. As you've seen, we've had you guys come on our platform and a host of other therapists, and we encourage it. I believe all of us has touched a chair at least once. So we wouldn't tell you something that we wouldn't do. But I think that that's something that does need to be talked about, but advocated for more amongst us as black men. There's nothing wrong with it. Like the guys or the coaches used to tell us when we were kids, pride ain't your friend. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have, you feel like you're missing something because you know it. You don't need anybody to tell you that you're off. You got that innate ability that tells you something is not right. Sit down and consult with someone, hopefully a licensed professional. Most people usually talk to friends, family members, and things like that, but they're not licensed professionals. They're good sounding boards. They're good people that can hear you out so that you can get it off your chest. But you do need to get some type of professional help so that you can just be your best self. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's like going to the gym, if you ask me.
Mhm.
But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, let me say this also, going to therapy one time or one session is also not going to cut it. We do
Right.
have more and more black people, black men as well, that are coming to therapy. But a lot of times you tell them, okay, well, we need to meet again next week. Oh, well, we need to do more. You can't just come to therapy one session and feel like you fixed or you healed. If therapy is a process, and we teach tools over time that you need to implement outside of therapy. So continuing to come at least for 6 sessions or so, not one, and feel like you got what you need. No, you have to continue to do it.
So just like I said with the gym, which you are absolutely correct. I don't know how your sessions go. Maybe that'd be something that you could say in the beginning, like, hey, listen, this is always just the first step. However, take however you word it, let them know, like let me set a challenge to you because men love challenges, right? Let's do 6 visits and then see if it helps. That may encourage that where they'll come for that second visit. Because like I said in the beginning, this is just like the gym. You can't go to the gym one time and come out with a god body, so it's the
Mhm.
same thing. Get in, get it. Repetition brings perfection, I believe.
Awesome.
I got a question. If you
Okay.
don't mind. I push back on therapy a lot for black men, and I want I hate to say this, Dr. April. I know you, but I think it's the best time you say it because you're on the show, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But once again, me and Chris had an introspective conversation this morning, and I feel like men being too in touch with their feminine side is killing us because of this. When you desensitize a man and you take that dog and that fight out of him, then when it's time to go to war, he don't know how to tap into that. See, I
Mhm.
need a man to stand up and be like, I need you to. It's okay to know your inner self, but I need you to be ready for war. Because right now, I ain't trying to be funny. When when bullets fly, like God rest his soul, those people are alive. In that grocery store, that man who said, "It's a man in here shooting." This is not the time to talk to him to solve this. This is the time for me to grab my gun and shoot back to try to protect these people. I need that. See, right now, I just feel like, and I don't want to sound like I'm Farrakhan or Malcolm X, but this, I just feel like a lot of times you pushing men to sit down and talk about it. This is a time for action. I need to see men being men with their head up and saying it's not fair, and it's not gonna be fair. And it's okay about it not being fair, because you know why? You was built to take this pressure, because you a man. And get up every day, put your shoulders back, and stop whining and be a man. I'm sorry, maybe I'm
I
wrong.
mean, I hear what you're saying, but therapy doesn't desensitize the man. You can still be a man and have that fight in you and attend therapy. Everybody go through stuff. And a lot of times as black men, that's why y'all don't really outlast the black woman when it
Right.
comes to life. Black men die quicker in marriages because you hold in a lot of stress. You hold in a lot of stuff. So a lot of times it's good to go to that therapist just so you can learn how to release the stress. Nobody is desensitizing you and telling you you can't take action. By all means, take appropriate action, but you still need someone to be able to teach you and help you learn coping skills to deal with things when stuff get real tough. So you won't be walking around and blowing your brains out because it's too much for you.
I love that. And in the school system, definitely we need therapy for a lot of our students because they have actually encountered a lot of trauma and they have no one to express it to. And they've been told as little boys, do not cry. Suck it up.
Mhm.
You're gonna be you're a man. Suck it up. You cannot cry, and that is an issue, and that's where that taboo comes in. Of no, I can't talk to anybody, and I can't cry about it. That's an issue. Go ahead, Horace.
Yeah, it might. This is interesting because it's coming from the estrogen community. I can appreciate Dr. April Givens and all you doctors, but I'm gonna be the butthole a little bit here, right? So this is my thing, right? So to be honest, we kind of raised like pit bulls growing up as young men. Everybody on this screen, we've experienced some kind of PTSD before we knew what that was. So have we endured some things? Absolutely. But I also know that even inside this whole new therapy crusade for black men, we're finding out that that's not a safe space always because we've had a couple things that we highlighted on the show, and once we did the work, I'm not going to call out the celebrity. They had a funding a campaign where they wanted black men to get therapy, and they were going to pay for all these black men. And then we found out behind the scenes, it was really about black men coming out uh, uh, for the LG, like if you were gay or in the closet transsexual. We're like, so we can't even trust that. And at the end of the day, we are men that end up being the protectors, the soldiers. If you get us to the point where I just see it's a lot of desensitization, feminization in us. So that's my thing. I think therapy is good for those that seek it. I just don't trust all of it that I'm seeing now because it's such a push for it for us, and it just seems like it might not be safe for some of us. I ain't saying Dr. April, I'm talking about you, but I've seen some of those, and y'all seen them too, where it's such a push for black men to do this, black men to confess this, black man confess that,
Mhm.
and it's like, all right, we're just learning about emotional intelligence, and you're gonna add something else to our plate.
But I get it. I get what you're saying, Horace. But just like you mentioned, you have these celebrity back stuff. Since 2020, you have all this media campaign about mental health advocacy. You have that everywhere by non-professionals. Everybody, because they went through a mental health crisis as a celebrity, now they train to be a life coach or provide some type of services to you. Stop seeking those people and seek folks like us who have licenses, who went to school for years and have training, internships, externships that we go through to learn proper technique to be able to hold a safe space. Those people don't have any of that. They make a lot of money, they're celebrities, so they have enough money to put these campaigns out there and call themselves a mental health advocate. But what does that really mean? They're not trained in anything. Instead of them putting their money behind people like us who are licensed professionals and have us on the forefront and provide the therapy, they can be in the background with the funding, but they don't want to do that. They want to be on the front, and you have these shows that they're creating, these sitcoms and series to where they're on there being life coaches and trying to tell somebody how to run a relationship, and they don't have a clue. They're not trained.
Okay,
But
I
hey, I
love that.
digress.
I love that. But I do want to, and I'm going to come back. I see Chris Leo has a question, or he has a statement or a comment. The Stacy Tate, can one of you guys take it? She said, "Can you guys be more specific to what your standards of leading mean or what they are?" She, I'm assuming, is a single mother. More specific.
Yeah, okay, let me help you. First of all, you got to say, let whatever man you encounter, he gonna have his own way. Chris lead the way, Zay lead the way, I lead the way, and Horace lead the way. So I think that what Horace was trying to allude to is, and Zay and Chris at some point, was this: if you meet Chris and Chris leads in a way that's not indicative of what you can make you have a nice life, then you don't say black men don't know how to lead. You say Chris is not the man for me, and then you go to somebody else. I think that so when you're talking about leading, there's no one cookie cutter answer to that to say black men lead this way. I think it's all situational. Like right now, if these are two doctors, these are two financially stable women right now that are doing pretty good. So how you will lead them and how you will lead somebody else who we're trying to build a future or who we're trying to budget more, it's going to be two different ways of leading. So I think that it depends on what step you at or what situation you at in life to say what kind of leader you want. But all I just warn you is just don't because you meet this guy and he don't
Mm.
lead the way you want him to lead, that he don't know how to lead. That's not true. He's leading the way that he sees fit to lead. Every warrior is not meant to be on the front line. Some is in the back in the office. Some is on the front line. Some is flying the plane. But we all needed in the war to get the black population ahead. And that's all I say about leadership.
But
Go
Hmm.
ahead, Corey.
Could you put that question up again, or statement one more time? Sorry.
Okay, definitely. All right. Stacy, take it away.
turn your mic on.
For me, now that I've learned, I've actually evolved a little bit and grow a little bit. So I do understand about emotional intelligence now, right? So me being a leader or a man in my relationship is me providing for that woman emotionally, spiritually, and emotionally, correct? Because I want her to be living her feminine energy. In this relationship, I need her to be in that place. That's what leading is for me. If that person, if I give that environment and that person cannot be in that element that I'm providing, then it's not going to work for me. So that's what I'm saying as far as leading, because most women say they want to be in that feminine energy. They want to be in that role where they feel protected, they feel safe, they feel taken care of. That's what leading is for me at this point in life. May not have been that 10 years ago because I did not have all of that. I probably didn't even have myself developed enough to be in that place that I'm in now. So that's leading for me. And if they cannot reciprocate what I'm giving, then it's a no for me. But that's what I offer. That's leading for me.
Okay, thank you, Holy
So,
Day.
I was just tapping into the part of the question where she said, how, she said also, what can help women learn how to allow a man to lead if she's been leading for so long as a single black mother? Well, I'm going to tell you it's very, very simple. At first, it's simple, but it's not easy to do. You got to first tell yourself that I'm going to allow him to take the reins and I'm going to bridle myself, whether it be my mouth or it be my actions. We know that you're strong. We know that you've been leading the charge. We know it because the man has not been there. Like you said, you've been a single mother, but you don't want to be a single mother. You do want the help. So why would you run the help off? Which is always the question that I always pose to women. Um, if you want something in life, you got to be able to give it first. Give him the reins, let him lead. Then you can make a definitive decision on whether his leadership is conducive to growth for you guys or not. If it's not, I always say come back to the table and have a conversation. Don't just start blasting us on a whole. Women don't like when men say all women. Guess what? Men don't like it either. Because all of us don't fall in that category. So give us a shot. But I think the problem stems is that everyone is looking for people to be perfect or robots, like me and Hardy say. No one is that. Everybody that you encounter is going to have some type of shortcoming. And you got to understand if you're going to be a team player, to say, hey, listen, I'm not trying to harp on you, but this is what I see. You constantly make a mistake here. It's not what you say, it's how you say things. Is what I've been learning when it comes to that. So I'll share that with you. You can get across the same uh, information to that person probably more effectively if you choose your tone and your words better, right? That way, that person doesn't feel like you're coming down on them. They feel like you're helping. Guess what they do? They change. But when you talk at a person, they double down. So if you want to ask me, how do you help? Help yourself by saying, you know what? I'm going to be a team player. I don't want to have the lead position anymore. I've done it and I'm tired. That's what I hear from most women. They're tired. Men's shoulders are bigger. Let that pressure go on him. Whatever pressure can't go on his shoulders, he can give it to the big dog. Because God's shoulders bigger than all of us. And that's another part to the equation. I know Mario will tell you guys about that more. Where he say if y'all pray together, y'all stay together because y'all prayer will be in line. So therefore, all of the work and effort that the goals that you guys have will be in line too. So that's also an important part too. We can't leave that out. But I know everyone's not uh, that type of that Christian or spiritually based. So I understand whoever it is that you look to, use that as your guiding post on how do I, access authority, leadership, however you want to word it. But that's what I would say, and that's my opinion.
Okay, I love it. All right, let's go to Chris because I know he had a comment earlier, and then
Well,
we'll come to this question.
I just want to continue this whole leadership thing. Like, if we don't know how to lead, who does? The construct, every construct of leadership it was created by men. So if men don't know how to lead,
That's not
who
true.
the hell does? I, what I'm saying, how can I put this? if you study leaders, if you want to be a leader, you study leader, and you talk to leaders, one thing is consistent. You can be strategically the best, statistically the best. You could have the best communication. You can have the best plan strategy, but it takes willing followers to be a great leader. You can have all the leadership qualities there, but if you have unwilling followers, then it doesn't matter how good of a leader you are. So I'll give you an example. Michael Jordan was in the league 7 years. He had became rookie of the year, scoring titles. People have considered him one of the best players in the world within his 7 years. Phil Jackson becomes his coach, who had never coached a team in his life, had never been a head coach nowhere. He tells the greatest basketball player in the world to win championship, you got to pass the ball more. He's not. How does he know more about basketball? How does he gonna tell the greatest player in the world? Michael Jordan could have easily been like, man, you ain't never won no championship. What you know? You just your first job. It took the greatest player in the world buying into the fact of if I kick the ball out of John Paxson, he can make a shot and we win championships. So it takes willing participants for any leader to be a better leader. And even if he's not a good leader, that doesn't matter. You learn from mistakes. The point is, we need people to buy. We need the followers to buy in to the whole program. You have to buy into the fact that he is the leader. If you don't buy into it, then it will never work for you. Stop questioning the leadership. Question the fact of you don't come to your job and say, "Well, you don't supervise well." You don't go to the teacher and say, "Well, you ain't professoring well." You just buy into the fact that they know what they're doing and I shut up and follow the instructions. That's all I'm saying.
I know you're finna move on, Dr. Manning, but I just want to say this. How about this? When I said, you know what, fellas, I talked to these fellas, I say, hey, I think I'm finna marry. I think I found my partner, my person in the world, right? Guess what I did? I asked a bunch of men that was married, how do you be a good husband? So how about women go to strong women that were strong baby mamas or mothers of children for a long time and got married and ask them how they did. See, I'm on the thing of how don't men teach men and women teach women. Because I can't tell a woman how she be a better woman. But that's why I didn't go to a whole bunch of women and say who married and say, hey, how do you like your husband? Because they're not my wife. What I did is went to a whole bunch of men who I felt, and maybe wrong, was good, solid, married men for a while, and I sought counsel in my elders. I didn't go to women. So I think women should stop going to Steve Harvey, Kevin Samuels, DeMario, Chris, Zay, and Tootie, and start going to finding good women that can give good advice, who have been through what you've been through, who came on the other side, and then you will get a woman's point of view on how she was a strong baby mama for 12 years, and then she found her man, and she been a wife for 10. Why don't you talk to that 60-year-old woman who's been through what you went through and understand how she went through? Because we can't tell you. We can just give you what we feel. So you need to talk to women, and men need to talk to men.
That's great advice. Great advice, Super Mario. I enjoy, of course, sparring with you guys. I love for you guys to come on. I want you guys to go and enjoy, of course, the rest of your Memorial Day weekend. I know Super Mario is out in Macon. He's been hunting, and now he's grilling. And the rest of you guys are going to relax today. Always a pleasure to hook up with you guys. Can't wait until we go on the road. Say, let us know what's up with that. I know we're supposed to take
working
the
on it
show and the Black Super Friends on the road. We'll be ready to go. We got some stuff coming up. We'll be hosting, and we got a lot going on. I know you guys have a lot going on. Traveling. Again, always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Next time we come back, we want to hear, how long does it take for a man to actually decide that the woman, that he wants to marry this woman? We know Mario,
Hey,
so
we want to know.
Y'all getting it started, ain't y'all?
These are questions.
It don't take that long.
Yeah.
Says a woman.
One man, he did research. He said if a man knows in 6 months whether or not he wants to marry a woman, and a guy sent this to my inbox. We talked about it back and forth a little bit. He wanted us to do a show. I didn't know if we could do a whole show on that.
No. A man knows immediately the first day. It takes 6 months to talk him out of it.
2 weeks.
Oh, well, maybe we can do a whole show on that. So,
Yeah.
so the woman talks him out of it.
Yeah,
I
you know
think
the first date.
uh,
It's up to you how long you gonna talk about it.
Oh, okay, Dr. A. I think we may need a whole show on this because we may
I
have
agree.
a lot. We may have a lot of people calling in. Thank you, Stacy Tate. She said positive feedback. Keita Manning, Marcus. Thank you guys for chiming in and asking questions. Again, we appreciate you guys.
Hey, Stacey.
Let us know. We want to jump on y'all's platform. Whenever y'all will have us.
It's our first time here.
Tune in tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow night. It's gonna be a humdinger.
Oh, what's tomorrow's show? Go ahead. Preface it.
It's called Horace's Retribution.
So yes, last week we had a segment where we were supposed to describe our cast members as movie characters or TV characters. I was unable to attend. Oh, I was Uncle Phil. I was
you was in
Buddy
attendance.
Love. Dave, I was Cyclops. Yeah, okay.
I cannot.
It would be a humdinger.
All right. Well, until we meet again, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll talk soon, Dr. April, as well.
Peace.
We can get the affirmation.
Yeah,
Yes.
affirmation.
Oh,
Affirmation.
yeah.
I was just gonna give it. I was wondering
what?
if you were on credits.
We weren't leaving. Don't worry. We weren't gonna leave without it.
Okay, so the affirmation for today is I trust that love will come into my life when the time is right.
I
Boom.
love it.
Amen.
I love it.
Amen.
Always. Thank you guys for the affirmation. See,
Yeah.
y'all jumped on this bandwagon of the chamber. Thank y'all. All right. Have a good one, everybody.